Good morning, Calvary. My name is Weston Bauer. My family and I have been going to Calvary for 15 years, and my pizza topping was sausage. So today's reading is from John 1:19 through 28. And this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Christ." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." So they said to him, "Who are you?" "We need to give an answer to those who sent us. What do you say about yourself?" He said, "I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness, 'Make straight the way of the Lord,' as the prophet Isaiah said." Now they had been sent from the Pharisees. They asked him, "Then why are you baptizing if you are neither the Christ nor Elijah nor the prophet?" John answered them, "I baptize with water, but among you stands one you do not know, even he who comes after me, the strap of whose sandal I am not worthy to untie." These things took place in Bethany across the Jordan, where John was baptizing.
Thanks, Weston. Well, I was listening to one of my non-Jesus-y podcasts, and they had a guest on, this British comedian, and he was just talking about his life. And one of the things that he said that he likes to do, he always has an ear out for people's rules of life. Rules of life. So some sort of belief or statement that gives purpose and meaning and direction to what they do, to what they believe, to what they see life is for. And he says he loves hearing these rules of life because he wants to try it on. He wants to see, does this work for me? Can I adopt this as something to give my life purpose and meaning and direction? And I really loved how he ended this thought. He had this tremendous statement of self-awareness. He said, otherwise, if we don't have something like that, if we don't have such a rule, otherwise we're just crawling around in the dark. And I love that he was able to articulate something that we all feel, and yet we are, for the most part, less willing to articulate something like that. All of us feel the need to give life meaning and purpose and direction. All of us are looking for something, to use the phrase that he had, hang our hat on. He looks for these sorts of rules to hang our hats on as, this is mine, this is what gives me structure, this is what gives me purpose. We're all looking for something like that, but very rarely do you hear people articulate, this is what I live for. You could see in the way people live, it will reveal what they think is valuable, what they think is significant. But if you ask them, hey, why do you live this way? Or why did you make this decision? It most often is, I don't know, felt right, felt good, seemed to bring me joy. But why do we make these decisions? What do we see as the grand idea, the grand purpose of life? More often than not, it's every sentence is going to be, I don't know. I don't know why. It seems like it's only when we get to see the frailty of life or something big happens to change the status quo that we are living out of. That's when people start to wonder, start to ponder, and think these bigger thoughts. Maybe this could be at a funeral or after having a health scare that people start to wonder, what is the purpose of my life? Or for those who have had a position, a job that they've had, when that is gone, then it starts to become this question, okay, that's what I was getting up for in the morning. That's what was driving my day. Well, who am I without that? Or the loss of a relationship that was so significant. What do I do now that it's gone? See, it's in these times that we start to get this wondering, to see people are asking, what's something I can hang my hat on? What's something that gives my life purpose and meaning and direction? But most of the time, people are just kind of living, just going through life. And yet it points to that deeper reality that everybody is seeking something. Everybody is looking for something to give our life's purpose. Maybe you only see that in times that are dire, but the way that people live reveal what they think is that something they're trying to find. The way that people spend their days, make decisions, is showing what they think is important and significant. Even if they can't articulate it, even if they don't go, this is my rule of life, this is what I hang my hat on. Everybody is seeking something. We have, as we continue in our passage, in our series in this Gospel of John, we see a passage where everybody is seeking. Everybody is looking for something. Everybody is trying to find what it is that they are seeking after. And yet, in each one of the characters, and all of them are seeking for something in this passage, each one of these characters, what they're looking for has an initial literal level of something that they're physically looking for. And yet, how they look for that, what they're going after, shows that they're looking for something more than that. They're looking for something to hang their hats on. They're looking for something that's going to make it so they don't have to crawl around in the dark anymore. And we see that in that first interaction where these Jewish religious leaders go up to John the Baptist and they are seeking something literal. There's an initial level to that. They are seeking answers. They want to know who is this guy and what he's doing. But beyond that surface level question, there's more going on. They're asking more than just, who are you? They're just not trying to gain facts. They're asking something deeper. Are you the one that God said he would work through? You being here, does that mean God is doing something new? Does that mean God is doing something fresh? With you showing up, is that showing us that there's something bigger going on than you baptizing people with water? And we see that as we get back into the passage. John 1, starting in verse 19. It says, and this is the testimony of John. When the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, who are you? He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, I am not the Christ. And so they asked him, what then, are you Elijah? And he said, I am not. Are you the prophet? And he answered, no. See, these Jewish leaders come up to John the Baptist and they see that he is doing this interesting work. He is baptizing Jewish people out in the wilderness. Now, two key parts of that. One is that he's baptizing Jewish people. Baptism at this time was seen as this picture of complete cleansing, a way to show that the way that you were living before, apart from God, needed to be fully washed away within you. Now, that was something that was predominantly reserved for Gentiles, people who were not raised up Jewish. It was a way for them to enter into the Jewish faith. The way that you lived before was so contrary to God, you need to be completely cleansed so that you can enter into worshiping God. But here's John baptizing Jewish people. But the second part is he's doing this out in the wilderness. He's not doing this in the temple where all of the God work was supposed to be done. And so you have these Jewish leaders go up to John, who's baptizing Jewish people out in the wilderness, and they ask him this question, what are you doing? And John correctly understands that they're not just merely here to say like, hey, I've never met you before. What's your name? Oh, John, cool. Yeah, Elizabeth's kid, right? Cool. Awesome. We're going to leave you alone now. It's not just this question of like, can you tell us your identity? We don't have that information. Their question, when they go to him and say, who are you? They are asking something deeper than that. They're trying to see, are you the one that God promised he would send? Are you the one that God is working through to do this new work? What gives you the right to do this work in this way? Who are you? And John understands the question because his response is first saying, I'm not the Christ. I'm not that one God promised he would send. I'm not that one God said that he would do this unique work through. Okay, so you're not the Christ. Are you Elijah? God promised that he would send a prophet like Elijah to turn people back to God. No, that's not me. Are you the prophet? God promised he would send a prophet like Moses. No, that's not me. See, John correctly understands that when the Jewish people come seeking for answers, they're looking for something more than that. Their ear is open to the fact of God's going to do a work. Is he doing it now? They're looking for something more. And as we continue in the story, we actually see John himself is looking for something as well. He is searching. He is seeking after something. And it's that very same thing that these Jewish leaders are looking for as well. John is looking for something he can hang his hat on, or to put it more accurately, he is looking for someone. Verse 26. It says, John answered them, I baptize with water, but among you stands one that you do not know, even he who comes after me, the strap of whose sandal I am not worthy to untie. John says that he is looking for someone. Elsewhere in this passage, he says he doesn't know the one that he's looking for yet. It hasn't been revealed to him. He hasn't been told who this one is, but he knows someone is coming after him. Someone is going to follow him up who's going to do a greater work than what he's able to do. He says, I'm out here. I'm preparing the people for this work that God is supposed to do, and I'm waiting for that day. I am eager to see it. I am longing for the day that God does that same work that you want, Jewish leaders. I cannot wait to see who this is. But again, it's not merely wanting to know who this person is. He has a good idea of what this person is going to be like. You asked me, am I the Christ? Am I the prophet? Am I Elijah? I am looking for the one who is the yes to all of those questions as well. I'm looking for this one who can do a greater work than me. In this time when feet were dirty and unclean, I can't even get near him to touch the grossest part to a Jewish person. I'm not even worthy to be in his presence. That's how incredible this person is. Now, I don't know who it is yet. I don't know who this person is yet, but I'm longing to see who this is. But again, it's not just that initial part of, I want to know their identity. He is looking, he is seeking for something even greater than that. And we see that with his answer. We see that when he finally sees who this person is, when he finally sees Jesus, his exclamation is not, this is the guy, but it's all rooted in what it is that he's looking for. It's all connected to why he wants to see this person. When Jesus arrives, when he sees the one that he has been looking for, he connects it to why he wants to see Jesus in the first place. This is verse 29. It says, the next day, he saw Jesus coming towards him, and he said, behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. See, when he sees Jesus, when he sees the one that he was looking for, it's not, yes, finally found him, but it's connected to why Jesus was so important, why it was that he wanted to see him, why he's been longing to see him. Here is the one who takes away the sins of the world. Here's the one that removes all that plagues us as individuals, all that plagues this world. In this one who's coming comes salvation, comes relationship with God, comes joining in with what God is doing. Comes the means to escape the darkness that all of us are crawling around in. I am looking for this one to come after me, not merely to see his face, but to experience all that he brings. John is searching for something, and it's found in Jesus. And we see that with two of his disciples as well. John had quite a bit of a following at this time. People were noticing John was doing something special. He was doing something unique, and it was making people take notice, wondering, is he the one that we are searching for? And two of his disciples are with John one day, and John, again, claims that Jesus is the Lamb of God. And in that moment, these two disciples who were following John, who were looking for God to do some sort of work, who were searching for something in life and thought that John was the one who was going to help them find it. Well, they were right, but not in the way that they thought. Not by being near John. In seeing, John was telling them someone else was that person. John was telling them someone else was the one that they were seeking. This is verse 35. It says, the next day again, John was standing with two of his disciples. And he looked at Jesus as he walked by and said, behold, the Lamb of God. And the two disciples heard him say this, and they followed Jesus. Jesus turned and saw them following and said, what are you seeking? And they said to him, Rabbi, which means teacher, where are you staying? See, we have these two disciples who are here, these two followers of John, these two people who are learning from John, thinking that they found something in him. But when John tells them it's someone else, they begin to follow this Jesus. But again, they're looking for something more than someone to join with. They're looking for something more than that. And Jesus picks up with the language. He uses the very question that's asked of every single person, what are you seeking? And their answer shows it's not just someone to follow. Because it would have just been, you silly, that's why we're walking behind you. Their answer to that shows that they are looking for something more. They ask him, where are you staying? And again, that answer has a lot of meaning packed into it. It's a formal way of asking a teacher, a rabbi, of not just, what's your address? Of not just saying, I'm kind of in between housing situations right now. Do you have a place where I can crash? It was a formal way of asking, where is it that you make your life? And can I make my life there as well? Where is it that you live? And can I live alongside of you, next to you, seeing how you live, seeing what I can learn from you, following after you? Where is it that you are? Because I want to be in that place to see if you can point me towards what it is that I'm searching for. Where are you staying? Because that's the place that I want to be, to see if you can help me find what I am seeking. To ask this question of Jesus, because they want to see if he can help them find what they're seeking after. See, this whole chapter, every single character that we are introduced in this section Everybody is seeking for something. And you even see that reflected in the language that's used over and over again. We see this language of seeing found throughout. We see that with John the Baptist. He is looking for this one to come after him. In verse 29, he saw Jesus. In verse 34, he gets to know more of who this Jesus is, and he has seen and borne witness that he is the Son of God. In verse 36, you have John again looked at Jesus. Then these two disciples follow after him in verse 38. And they saw him. All throughout this passage, see, seen, saw, seeking, all of the language used throughout, and we should take notice of it. All of it is telling us that each person in this chapter is seeking something. And that should come as a no surprise. We say everybody is seeking something. Everybody is looking for answers. Everybody is looking for something to hang our hats on. But what's remarkable in this passage is it's not just another part of a quest. We're not hearing people's thoughts about what it might be. Instead, everybody who seeks something in this passage is able to find what it is that they're looking for. Pick it back up in verse 38 again. Jesus turned and saw them following and said to them, "What are you seeking?" And they said to him, "Rabbi," which means teacher, "where are you staying?" And he, Jesus, said to them, "Come, and you will see." These two followers who just started following after Jesus, they're given this invitation to come, and you will see. One of them is never named in this story, and so people wonder, is this John, the author, being cheeky again? The other one, we're told, is Andrew, and I so wish we had an extra week or even just more time this morning. I had a whole sermon in my head of just looking at the life of Andrew and the example that he gives to us. It's fascinating. It's so cool. We don't have time for any of that. But we have these two disciples who are looking for something. They're longing for answers. They're trying to find something to hang their hats on. They're tired of crawling around in the darkness, and they wonder, is Jesus the one who can help me? Can Jesus point me in the right direction? Can Jesus show me the way that it is to go? And instead, Jesus comes, "Come and see. Come and learn from me. Come and experience from me." Because what it is that you're looking for, I can't just point you in the direction. Come, I can't just show you the right steps that you need to take. No. Come and see me. Because what you are seeking, what you're longing after, what you're trying to find, what it is that's to give you purpose and direction and life, something to hang your hat on, is not something I can give to you. It's me, myself. Come and see me, because in that you will discover what every single person longs for. Come and find what you are looking for in me. And again, we know that because of how people respond in this passage. Verse 41, Andrew runs to go and get to his brother. And what he says to him is, "We have found. We have found the Christ. We have found the Messiah. We have found the Savior of the world. We have found who it is that we are looking for. My journey has come to an end. I am not seeking anything anymore because I have found Jesus." Philip is called by Jesus right after this. He becomes a follower of him as well. And the first thing that he does is also run to his brother, and he says, "We have found the one that all of the Old Testament was telling us about. My journey has come to an end. I'm not seeking anymore. I'm not looking around. I'm not trying to find something anymore. We have found him." And it's Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus is the one who gives us purpose and direction and meaning to all existence, all of life, all that we will experience, all that we will go through. All of it points towards him. He is the Christ. He is the one that all of the Bible has been pointing for. He is the one that every life is pointing towards. He is the one that every single one is seeking. In him do we find guidance and direction. He is the one who makes things right. He is the one who takes away sins. He is the one who gives us a way in life, who gives us life to begin with. He's the one who brings us into relationship with God. He's the one who sets us on firm ground that cannot be shaken, cannot be moved. He is the one who makes it. He's the light light that comes into the world so we don't have to crawl around in the dark anymore. Everybody is seeking something, and it's found in Jesus. But it's remarkable in this story where everybody is looking for him and he is the one that we're looking for, Jesus is fairly silent. He's not the most verbal character of this chapter. He's not the one who's giving a lot of answers as to what it looks like to follow him. And yet this whole passage shows us exactly what it looks like to follow him. This whole passage acts as a blueprint of what it looks like to be his disciple. This whole chapter acts as a pattern for us to walk into as well, for those who want to find what they are seeking in Jesus as well. If we just look at the example that these followers take, well, it shows us what the life of being a follower of Jesus looks like. First and foremost, it's to receive that same invitation that those first disciples were given. Come and see. To follow Jesus is first to receive this invitation to come and see, find what you are looking for, find what you are seeking, and see that it's found in this Jesus. That invitation is offered one and all. Come and see. It wasn't just limited to these two disciples. It is offered to all who are seeking, all who are trying to find something in this world, all who are sick and tired of crawling around in the dark. Come and see that it's Jesus who is the one that you are trying to find. And from that, it's not enough to know that, all right, my search has come to an end. It's Jesus. And then we're unmoved by that. It's not enough to know Jesus is the object of our search. It's not enough to know, all right, that's the guy. Now I'm going to go back with my life. No, it's not enough merely to know that Jesus is the one that we are seeking after. Now it's important to know who this Jesus is, to gain more and more awareness of it. You even see those two brothers who ran after to tell others, we have found. The way they do it is with really theological language. They're showing that this is truly the guy. This is the one that I've been looking for. To know that Jesus is the object of our search is to experience him more, to learn about him more, to gain better understanding of him, rather than something that we can concoct and make up on our own. Rather, it's getting to know Jesus all the more. But it's not enough to know. It's not enough to know facts about him. No key dates and figures. Like, yeah, I know Jesus is the one I'm looking for, and this is what he's like. It's not enough to stay unmoved with this realization. All of it requires a complete change of life. These disciples in this passage found the one that they were looking for in Jesus, and their lives were changed because of it. They started following him. They lived their lives in the way that he was calling them to. They lived so they could learn from his example, learn from his teaching, follow in the good way that he has for them. All of these disciples, when they are told, have found this one, their lives become active in following after him. Those first two, John says, here's the guy. And so they leave where they were and follow Jesus. Simon Peter leaves where he was to follow Jesus. Nathanael leaves from being under the fig tree to follow Jesus. To come and see is to be invited to find what you're looking for in Jesus, and our lives lived in response to that are constantly striving after him, because here he is. Here's the one I was trying to find. And so I live with him and for him, invited in to be very much so in the place where he is staying. And the final part, for those who find what they were looking for in Jesus, receive that invitation to come and see and live their lives in response to that. Well, the final part is helping others to do the same as well. What it looks like to be a disciple of Jesus is to help others to become disciples of Jesus. What it means to be someone who found what we have to hang our hats on in this life is to help other people who are wearing hats. What it looks like for those who are no longer crawling around in darkness is the realization that I was once where you were. I was once in the dark as well. Let me show you what I have found in Jesus. What I think one of the things that we could do that's a bit of a disservice in this room is what we have on our walls. Now, I think it's a great picture to show this is what we think the church is called to do. This is what we exist to do, to build Christ-centered communities of people fully devoted to loving God and loving others. And we point to this thing all the time. I think it was twice last Sunday, we referenced this wall. This is what we seek to do. It's important that we know, why are we here? And then on the other side of the wall, we say this is how we try to do that, to make disciples disciples, empower leaders, and multiply churches. But it can feel like these two ideas are disconnected. They're opposite sides of the room, after all. Then maybe we walk in and we're like, yeah, I like this idea. I've found what I'm looking for in Jesus. I want to center my life around him. I want to follow him. I want to learn what it means to love God. And if I have time, I'll love others as well. But then if we go to the other side of, okay, the way that we do that, at least in part, is to make disciples, empower leaders, and multiply churches. Yeah, I'm not really into that stuff. You know, I have my relationship with God. I have my Bible and me, and I'm doing really good. I don't need to do any of this other stuff. But these things are not disconnected. They're the same idea. The way that we do this, the way that we follow Jesus is by doing these things as well. It would be so much more clear if we can connect these two pictures together. I recognize to do that, we would crush every one of us in this room right now, but it would at least show us the logic of how they work together. To do this, to follow Jesus, leads to us making disciples. That is always the pattern. From the very beginning, these first followers of Jesus run out to say what they have found. That's what it looks like to follow him, to help others to learn that same thing. When Jesus departs the world, he says, go and make disciples. That's not something that's left up to the experts. That's not something that only some people do. Another place that I wonder if it's a disservice, but I'm going to be much more cautious in my criticism because it's actually in the Bible and I'm not going to critique what's in there. But we do read that there is a gift of evangelism, that some people are particularly gifted in telling others about Jesus. But what that can do and has done is some people read that as like, well, that's not my gift, so not my job. That's not my job description because I don't have that gift. Someone else gets to do all that stuff, but me, yeah, I just don't have the gift of evangelism, so I don't need to do this part of telling others about Jesus. No, some people are particularly gifted in what every Christian is called to do. Every Christian is called as people who have found what they're looking for in Jesus to help others to do the same. Every Christian who follows Jesus helps others to follow him as well. It's not just left up for those experts. It's not just left up for some people who are particularly good at this. It's the call of every single Christian to make known what it is that they have found in him. To follow Jesus is to help others to do that. To see in the light that he provides is to help others to do the same. From the very beginning, when we see what it means to be a disciple, a follower of Jesus, it's to be one who makes fellow followers of Jesus. Now, I don't want to be cruel or unaware. I know that this is scary to do. I know that that's hard to do. I know that because it's hard for me to do. And you might wonder, like, how is that? You're always telling people about Jesus. Yeah, in a particular situation where you don't give me a lot of feedback in the moment, and you all show up to church where I'm fairly comfortable, you expect to hear something about Jesus. Pretty sure you're signing up for that when you walk in. So it's not as though I'm having to be in a conversation and wonder, all right, I'm listening to what you're saying, I'm listening to, but I got to hear that little bit. And it's like, yeah, but Jesus. All right, I got my way in. Yes, finally, that's it. It's not as though I'm living next to you and you get to see my mistakes and like, yeah, I know this could sound hypocritical, but also follow Jesus, please. It's not as though I need to have the Bible memorized. I just go after my small portion of it. So that way, when a question is asked and I don't know that one, that's in the Bible, I'm unfamiliar with that part. I don't need to learn the answers to all the questions that you might have. And it can feel like when we have that as the case, all right, I'm supposed to tell people about Jesus, so I got to get my act together, I got to learn the Bible inside and out, I got to know the answer to all the possible questions that they might ask, and I'm never going to get to that spot, so I'm just never going to say anything. And those fears are absolutely the 100% right response if them accepting Jesus falls on me, is based off of my abilities, is based off of what I can do. But that's not what we're called to do. We're not called to ensure a solution. That's never possibly going to work out. We're not called to be good enough to share the message. That's never what it's called to do. Instead, we're just called to be faithful with what's been extended to us. We see that in the life of Philip as well. Philip goes to tell his brother what he found mere moments before. I found the one I was looking for. It's Jesus of Nazareth. And his brother Nathanael asks him a question, which essentially boils down to, yeah, but are you sure? I mean, can he really be the guy? Can he really be worth following? And what Philip does not do, he doesn't go into Jesus' CV. All right, here's the reason why I think he's the right one. He doesn't start going to the Old Testament, like, Jesus is the one who fulfills all these things. He doesn't do anything to answer his question. Instead, he says a simple phrase, come and see. That same invitation that's offered to all Christians is the only thing that we need to be faithful in bringing to the world around us. Come and see. I have found Jesus. I have found what I was looking for. Come and you will find what you are looking for as well. And the reason why we can have that confidence, the reason why we can have this certainty, this encouragement as we go and make fellow followers, as we spread the good news of Jesus around the world, I think is given to us in this passage as well. I mean, I tried to highlight a few of the times that we see the words like saw, looked, seen. Like all throughout this passage, it's all about people seeing. They're looking for Jesus. All throughout it, they're trying to find him. And when people see Jesus, it shows what they were truly looking for. The way that they are living in this passage shows what it is that they're longing for in the same way that all of us do that. And yet, the reason why we can be confident as we tell others about Jesus is because we're not the only ones looking for something in this passage. We're not the only people that have those same verbs used. Those seeking Jesus are not the only people who are seeking something here. Because those two disciples who are seeking Jesus, in verse 38, Jesus turned and saw them. When Peter is brought to Jesus in verse 42, Jesus looked at him. When Nathanael is brought, even though he had questions and concerns about Jesus, in verse 47, it says that Jesus saw Nathanael. And even before that, when he was under the fig tree, he said, I saw you. See, we can have confidence in following Jesus. We can have confidence in telling others about him, not just because he is what every single person is seeking for in this world, but more importantly, Jesus is seeking us. He is the one who comes into this world. He's the one who gives us what it is that we need. He is the one who drew near to us. He is the light that comes that does not leave us crawling around in the darkness. And so when we go out into the world, or just to next door, or even within our homes, we do so with shouts of Eureka! I have found what it is that I was looking for. And we do so because you, all the world, are the ones that Jesus himself is seeking after. That is what we are invited to see. That is what shapes our lives around. And that is the good news that we bring into a world that is looking for something to hang their hats on.